watch the Lions football game.
And I'll call the order of business for October 13th, 2015. Mr. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Nettapigian.
Present.
Kenneth Barron.
Here?
Thomas Berry.
Here.
Robert Constant.
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Here.
Margaret Horvath is absent. And Joseph Kaczynski.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. At this point, we have a former council member and a good friend and sat on commissions and all, Council Member Roy Pilot. I'd like to ask Roy to please lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Roy. Next order of business is approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve the order of business October 13th, 2015, regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council as presented.
Support.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4, approval of minutes. 4A, the minutes of the regular meeting of September 22nd, 2015.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of September 22nd, 2015.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move the council approve current claims items 6-1 through 639 as presented.
Support.
Second by Councilman Berry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 7, considerations of bids. 7A, advertise for bids for compressor replacement at the John F. Kennedy Junior Library. Public Service Administrator Zimmer.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve Director Zimmer's request to advertise for bids to replace one Copeland compressor system at John F. Kennedy Junior Library. Funds for this project were approved in the 2015-2016 Library Fund budget as outlined in 7A.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 7B, advertise for bids for the year 2015 CDBG Berwyn Improvement Project. Community and Economic Development Director Amon.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve of the recommendations of our CEDD Director Ron Amon's request according to our fiscal year budget 2015 for the Berwyn Center improvements. In accordance with the HUD regulation, he is recommending a new HVA roof unit, new windows, and new carpeting. The total cost $75,000, and funds have been budgeted and approved in our fiscal 2015 CDBG budget as illustrated in 7B.
Support.
Second by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I'm trying to understand how much of the Berwyn Senior Center will be serviced by the new HVAC system. Is that a limited area or?
Yeah, it'll be the CEDD offices.
Okay. Also, there is the suggestion of windows. What is the intention there? Is the intention to do the entire building with window replacements or just a CBDG?
Well, we've budgeted $75,000. If we can do more than the windows in our office, we will. The windows in the entire building need to be replaced.
Yeah, I didn't think you could do the entire building with that budget.
I didn't say the entire building. I said if we could do more than just those windows in our office, we'll do those.
Okay. And the the carpeting, the presumption is it'll be just in the areas that are not carpeted, or what can be said about that?
Yeah, that's the carpeting in the CEDD offices. The carpeting in the rest of the building was replaced 3 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number C, advertise for bids, heavy-duty picnic tables, Recreation Director Greibel.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Constant.
I move we concur with our Recreation Director Ken Greibel and approve the bid specifications for 10 heavy-duty picnic tables as outlined in 7C.
Second,
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
all per the attached specifications
The
to
attached specifications.
Is outlined in 7C? Okay. Councilwoman
Yeah,
Hicks
I'm
Clayton.
sorry. And Director Greibel, I apologize. Usually I try to call ahead of time, and I wasn't able to today because of my schedule. But the 10 tables, the picnic tables, those are for events, location,
For the system.
We have multiple locations throughout the city where we have pavilions with picnic tables, and we have quite a few of them that are starting to need replacements. It'll be just a generic replacement throughout the city where needed.
For pavilions and locations. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, thank you.
No further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number D, tabulation of bids, new rescue squad, Fire Chief Brogan.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
I move to accept the bid from Horton to build 2 new rescue squads at a cost of $494,496. Horton's bid is the only bid that is 100% compliant as bid with the new federal guidelines for an EMS unit. The federal AFG grant will cover $136,000 of this price, and the remaining balance of $358,496 will be financed as outlined in 7D. And I would assume that's,
And return bid bonds.
yes, please, the return bid bonds.
second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Berry.
Chief, these 2 new rescue squads, they will be replacing 2?
Yeah, that's correct. We're going to be replacing 2 of the older squads. Actually, one of them, you'll see later, we're asking to get rid of already. It failed the DOT testing, and it's not worth getting it back up and running again, and we're just looking to get rid of that one. So we're going to be replacing 2 of the squads.
How old is the other one?
Well, they're 2009 model. We got them in 2008. The ones that, the first line squads that are going to reserve, so they're 7, almost 8 years old.
What's the life expectancy on those? I know that,
You get about, the way our use, you get about 5 years in first line, then they should go to reserve status, and you get another 5 years out of them. That's kind of the general guideline. We've pushed these into the 7th, almost 8th year. Those are our 2 first line squads. They're in bad need of replacement. The ones that are reserve squads, like I said, one failed the DOT testing, and it's going to take, it has a problem that we've had 2 mechanics have given up on. They can't fix it. There's about $15,000 of work to get it back up to be roadworthy. The one that's passed has it was in a serious accident, and the box has some broken welds that we're constantly repairing. And it's also, it's costing, we're putting $15,000 to $20,000 into these squads per year in maintenance.
The other thing is, they have quite a few miles on them.
Yeah, our first line squads have 130 and 150,000 miles.
those are diesels, aren't they?
They're diesels, but they're,
That's just warming up.
well, for
The motor,
use.
but it's the cab and the rest of the section that is showing its wear and tear in trying to provide first-line service.
Yeah, that's correct. And we actually had to, earlier this month, we had to borrow Garden City squad, and then we had to borrow Dearborn squad, and so it's been really difficult to try to keep, with the 4 squads we have, to try to keep 2 up and running has been very challenging. They're at the end of their life cycle.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Yeah, I was at the Eaton Center for the Meet Your First Responder. We were talking about the rescues, and we were talking about the life expectancy of a vehicle. And also, how important it is to maintain these for public safety, but especially, and if you could share with us, your medical runs, I mean, how, you're significantly higher right now than what the average has been over years. So certainly we have at least two that were purchased in 2008, correct?
Yeah, those are our first-line squads. The other ones are older than that.
So these are really honestly overdue. To keep these on the road is imperative to public safety, because your medical runs exceed previous years.
Yeah, by quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to make that point, thanks.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kuzinski.
Chief Brogan shared with me earlier in the day that the department graciously nursed these units along to get through some difficult times financially in previous years, and certainly the point that Councilwoman Hicks Clayton makes is a good one, because if you have a transport to a emergency room and you get there halfway and the unit won't function as they should to get to destination, there's a little bit of liability that might be tied up with that. So we appreciate your capability of running those units longer than what the expectations were, and we acknowledge that with appreciation.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Berry.
I don't want to give anybody the impression that I'm saying not to buy any new rescue squads.
No.
Like you're implying, but I will tell you that the expectation of those vehicles is 10 years. You're 7 years here. It is 10 years. But one has been in an accident. One hasn't passed a DOT inspection, which I don't know what it is about it, whether it's the engine or whether it's the frame or what it is, but I'm going to trust his judgment. But I thought that point needed to be made, that should operate off of a 10-year average, not a 7.
Mr. Chairman, the commentary that I offered had to do with a discussion of the issue with Chief Brogan one-on-one. It had nothing to do with trying to demean any of the statements.
No, I'm not taking it that way. No, I'm just saying that I would expect 10 years out of those vehicles for how they're built, and that's all. But we had extenuating circumstances, and that's where we're at now, so.
And to explain a little further, the ones we're replacing are 15 and 17 years old. Those are the ones we're getting rid of. The other squads are going into reserve status.
So they will
Where did I get
they
the
will be back up.
2007, 2008?
So I gave you bad information. You asked me how old are the trucks, and our first line trucks, we're replacing, they're going into reserve status. So those are the ones that are 7, 8 years old.
trucks.
Yes, and the reserve ones are 15 and 17. Those are the ones we're getting rid of.
That makes more
Yeah.
sense. Okay. Thank you.
Your 2008 goes to reserve.
Okay, any further discussion? Thanks, Chief. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 8, reports to the mayor. 8A for Mayor Pleco, 2015-16 water budget.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve of mayor's proposed water budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016, as illustrated in detail in item 8A.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton as a no. Motion carried. Item number B for Mayor Pleco, water and sewer rates.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move that the council approve the rates increases as presented in the attached communication from Plant and Moran dated September 17th, 2015, to go into effect in the next billing cycle as illustrated in detail presented by Plant Moran in item 8B.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. Obviously, I voted no in the last piece. And what I'm going to say is going to be an indication of how I vote on this. This is really a tough decision after our study session with Plant Moran and the water rate study. And I've reread, and I certainly see, some issues and importance of things that we need to address, including the long-term planning and including capital outlay, because, you know, as an aging community, our infrastructure is going to obviously have inevitable improvement projects, and I do have some concerns there with that, and I'm not seeing that planning as much. I know we talked about that, but I also have concerns with the Great Lakes Water Authority. When I compared that to other water authorities, not just in Michigan and our region, but even nationwide, looking at some of the potential savings with water rate increases, and I'm just not being able to connect those things. And I'm concerned for our residents, because I'm hearing with the struggle of being able to pay the rate increase year after year. So I would hope moving forward we can take a closer look at that, especially for long-term planning, a 5-year, a 10-year plan with this piece. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
We kind of are planning 5 years.
Well,
This is part of a 5-year
Mr. Chairman,
plan.
if
Sure,
the
Mayor.
council did not approve this and delayed it even for a couple months, the rate increase would be double digits.
Yeah. We had that a few years ago, and I
Yeah.
remember we postponed it a few months, and then it jumped right up in
Yeah,
order
and
to keep up.
I would not suggest we go through that again, and it was like a 7-8%, next thing you know, it was 12.
Yep. Yep. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Mark Councilwoman Hicks Clayton as a no. Motion carried. Item number C, from Mayor Pleco, joint funding agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council concur with the request of Mayor Dan Paletko and authorize the entering into the attached joint funding agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey at a cost of $15,700.
Support.
All per the details in HC
Support.
document dated September 28, 2000.
Mayor and clerk to sign.
Mayor and the clerk signed the document.
Second by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Councilman Berry.
I find it interesting that the U.S. Department of Interior recognizes it as a river.
And if we didn't agree to contribute this, they would not, they would take that stream and all the data we get from it out.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
it's a point well taken. Some of the maps designate the E-course Creek River,
Creek River, yeah.
designated as a creek, and other maps have designated as a river. So whatever the best advantage is to the community, let's designate it in that manner.
Well, I think it's river that would be our best
Absolutely.
designation. Unfortunately, it's been renamed
Yeah.
or recognized as a creek, so you're allowed to dump into it.
Well, then it's under the jurisdiction. What I've always heard is that our first mayor wanted homes built close up to, if it's deemed a creek, you can build up much closer than the river.
Yeah.
So it's been deemed a creek, but yeah, so it's under the jurisdiction of the county, opposed to like the Rouge River.
The
which
river,
is-
yeah, the river is in fact protected by what?
It's under the jurisdiction of the state. and
Yeah,
then-
EDQ, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, therein, the comment that Councilman Constant made leads us to a disaster that we're still facing. Moving into floodplains should have never occurred.
Absolutely.
And I can say from all the years that I've sat here or conducted responsible activities in other areas of the city since 1973, we are at the farthest point of accomplishing some kind of solution. That is the Greenway and also the funding that is
Federal
hopefully going to
funding,
come in December to
Mitigation, right.
alleviate the problems that our citizens are suffering.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 8D for Mayor Pleco, Building Authority appointments.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman,
point of order, Mr. Chairman. I got a call late today
Okay,
from Mr. Manny Aegis indicating that he would not be able to serve on this.
Mr. Chair,
So we'll approve it.
I talked to Manny, he called me, We discussed it, so he's reconsidering he was worried about the time involved.
Yeah, this one meeting, and when did you talk to him? What time of the day?
It was about 7 o'clock.
Oh, I talked to him around noon.
told me.
And 3:30, so, yeah, I will leave him in here.
And then-
Leave him in.
I'd like to
yeah.
leave them in.
Yeah,
And then if it doesn't, we can,
good job in encouraging him. I'm thankful for the three, and I know our city treasurer is, I don't know if John's here today, but John needs that panel for the calling of the bond so we can refinance and save a whole bunch of money, so.
Yeah, he somehow, well, we'll talk, he somehow thought it was the board that Larry Zera, his good friend and countryman, sits on, but it's not.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I just wanted to point that out based upon my last 3 o'clock
Yeah.
conversation.
okay. Do we have a motion, or?
I did.
Okay. It was seconded by-
Request that we note and file Mayor Paletko's nominees to the Building Authority, who are Peggy Greibel, whose term will end October 2017, Manny Aegis, whose term will end October 2019, and Scott Mauricelli, whose term will end October 2021.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing
We
none?
had it.
All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 8E for Mayor Pleco, Planning Services Transition.
Mr. Chairman?
Councilman Pigian?
I move to approve of Mayor Paletko's recommendations between our Corporation Council and the McKenna Corporation, making sure that they are compensated in the amount of $13,901.04, ending our relationship with each other.
Support.
Second by Councilman Barry. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, one point I want to indicate, and I don't know if the Planning Commission has done it yet, Mohammed might know, but the meetings, Wade and Trim will ask that the Planning Commission meetings move to another day, and I think they're looking at Wednesday because they have a conflict Thursday, but I thank all the people that helped on this, our attorney mainly, to get this a nice, clean break. And so there was a 90-day provision in the contract, so we could have had McKenna working through December, but this will give us an opportunity to get the new planners in place. So, thanks, everybody.
And does this need signatures?
No, this is just to make payment of the bill, because the council motion picking this firm really was the primary basis, and that's already been done.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
it should be noted that the invoicing backup is significantly more than 13,901. We're getting by with probably 30 cents on the dollar of the original invoicing in getting this out of the way. And I'm happy to see it go forward because I have had some concern about the invoicing that occurred over time and now is resolved. I appreciate the work of the people who concluded this highly favorable to the city.
Good. Yep. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9F for Mayor Pleco, District 7 Dad's Club Homecoming Parade.
How about we stay on 8F?
I'm sorry, 8F? That'll work. Councilman Constant.
I move we concur with Mayor Paletko and approve the District 7 Dads Club Homecoming Parade, which will be on Saturday, October 17th at 4:30, as outlined in 8F.
Second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion?
That's it.
Hearing
I'm
none?
going to that parade.
All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9, reports from city officials. 9A from Corporate Counsel Miyake, consent to assignment of Detroit Water contract and resolution.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
Move City Council concur and consent to the assignment of the Detroit Water contract and the resolution regarding the same, and authorize the mayor and the clerk to sign on behalf of the city, as
Second.
outlined in 9A.
Second.
Do I hear a second from Councilman Kozinski? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9B for Administrative Assistant Laszlo, Michigan Humane Society Animal Shelter Agreement.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. I move to approve the agreement between the City of Dearborn Heights and the Michigan Humane Society for housing and care of Dearborn Heights domestic animals.
Second.
Corporate counsel has reviewed the document and authorized the mayor and clerk to sign the proper documentations as outlined in 9B.
Second.
Second by Councilman Apigian. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion? No, yep, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. 9C from Police Chief Gavin, maintenance agreement with Systemp Corporation.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Berry.
move City Council concur and approve, and to approve the program maintenance agreement without filter changes between the city and Systemp Corporation, including Exhibit A to said agreement, and to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement on behalf of the city as outlined in 9C.
Second.
Mayor and clerk to sign.
Mayor and clerk to
Okay,
sign if you
good.
prefer, sure.
Second by Councilman Apigian.
Good.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I wonder if it would be appropriate to have a closed-in conclusion to the renewal. Any renewal of a contract ought to be based on the appropriateness of the service and the satisfactory performance of the service. And should this be brought back on an annual basis for consideration by the council? I don't know, I know that Councilor Mayatki had looked at this very closely, and I would impose upon him for some recommendation as to whether it should go as the motion is on the table now, or can we expect that this will come back before us regularly?
It's a 5-year program here.
Well, if I may.
Okay, Gary, go ahead.
Basically, the police chief had incorporated what I needed, but I did not receive it prior to the meeting. I had sent him what was needed. But essentially, this contract was changed to take into account all of my concerns before, and also includes, and I'm trying to find the specific language, if you just bear with me for a moment, also includes the language that makes it so that even though it can't automatically renew, it can also end up basically being terminated. And that's been something that I've been insisting on ever since we had a couple problems lately, is that we always have something that allows us to terminate the
Look at
agreement.
page 10, because 11 seems to be.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Thank you. The mayor found it for me here. Yes, on page 10 of 14, essentially it says, after the initial term of this agreement will renew on the same terms as set forth in this agreement, except that any renewal term will only be for 1 year. During the initial term of this agreement and any renewal term of this agreement, either party may terminate this agreement with or without cause upon 45 days written notice to either party. So essentially, that language puts us in a position where if there is dissatisfaction or an issue is raised, where the city would have the opportunity to address it.
Okay, I didn't catch the part that you're citing as some protective mechanism of
It's in the
exiting the
chief's thing, he
contract
just-
if the service is not up to expectations. And the other part is that if service for one reason or another would deteriorate, good management practices would alert us to take action to terminate also. So, thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
Do you have another copy there?
Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9D from Police Chief Gavin, payment to System Corporation for replacement of the Justice Center rooftop unit number 5.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski?
move council concur with the recommendation of the Police Department Chief Gavin to authorize and approve the payment to System Corporation, the amount of $5,795 for the replacement of rooftop units on the police side of the structure. All according to item 9D, the document dated September 15th, 2015.
Second by Councilman Apigian.
Thank you, yes.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9E from Police Chief Gavin, request to auction vehicles.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council concur with the request of Police Chief Gavin to authorize the auction of vehicles in the police department possession listed in 9F, document signed September 24th, 2015 by Chief Lee Gavin.
Support
9E.
9E.
It's 9E,
I'm sorry, what did I say?
9F.
9E.
9E.
Well,
Support.
it's 9E.
I even brought my own light and I still can't read it.
And second by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Sorry about that.
Is there any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9F from Police Chief Brogan, Federal AFG Operations Grant.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to accept Fire Chief Brogan's request to accept AFG operation grants. This is a request to accept federal AFG operations grant for a total amount of $211,615. This grant will be used to purchase 4 thermal imagers, 3 generators, 2 extraction tools, 15 sets of turnout gear, a trailer. We have 10% match of $21,160 to come out of the fire department's capital outlay.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9G from Fire Chief Brogan, purchase of 2 iPads Air 2 tablets.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Constant?
I move we concur with our Fire Chief Dave Brogan and approve the request to purchase 2 iPad Air 2 tablets at a cost of $1,539.96 as outlined in 9G.
support.
Second by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 9H from Fire Chief Brogan, request to sell R3 wheeled coach medium-duty international unit.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Apigian.
I move to approve of Fire Chief Brogan's request to sell R-3 emergency vehicles plus for $4,500. The estimated trade-in value in our budget was $2,000 to $4,000.
From the
Dearborn-
vendor.
Excuse me?
It was from the vendor.
Yes. No,
Trade-in
the
value
actual
from the vendors.
trade-in, the actual price is gonna be $4,500 from a vendor. Anyway, the Detroit,
Oh, I apologize.
excuse me.
Go ahead.
The Dearborn Fire Department is scheduled to take delivery of 5 new squads. We are working on a temporary arrangement to keep one of their old squads to cover the absence of R3 from our fleet. This is connected to the other motion we had, which, as indicated in 9H.
Second.
Support.
A second by Councilman Kozinski. Is there any discussion?
Perhaps the fire chief can explain,
Begin?
this R3 is not, is a rescue, is a,
Yeah, R3 is a rescue unit, one of the rescue units that we're
which
getting
is
rid of.
different than the thing we were talking about.
No, we call rescue squads, they're kind of interchangeable
It's a fire
terms.
truck,
It's a fire
actually.
truck, yep. It's an ambulance, but it's a heavy-duty ambulance that has fire gear on it.
You see it responding.
Correct.
So my only question about this, you're going to keep this for a while?
No, it's already out of service. They're willing to come in and get it right now, and give us the money for it.
Okay. No, I meant what Dearborn is going to give you.
Yeah, Dearborn's getting 5 new squads, and so they have a reserve that's actually in running condition that we'll take in case one of our other ones break down to have it on
So
hand.
it's a loan, essentially.
Yes, essentially.
I was looking for a dollar amount, and when I did, that was my question. Thank you.
Good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. 9I from Public Service Administrator Zimmer, purchase of line sprayer.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move council concur with Director William Zimmer and authorize the purchase of a line sprayer in the amount of $3,450. The sprayer is a upgrade to what originally was budgeted at $3,400, but there is a facility to request the additional $450 to cover the purchase expense as indicated in 9I, dated September 28, 2015.
Second.
Second by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. This ends our regular portion of our meeting, and there were some questions asked about the charter amendment that we have on the ballot, and I've asked Gary Mackey just to kind of explain briefly what it actually entails. So, Gary?
Thank you. The current charter provisions in several different places require that certain official actions by the city be published in an official or the official city newspaper. What the charter amendment would do is allow these items, instead of being published in a city newspaper, which can be very expensive at times, to be put onto the city's website or put into the city's newspaper, or both, all depending on the requirements of the law. But it gives an option for the city to be able to publish things in a much cheaper fashion, as well as a fashion that in some cities has been required because they haven't had a newspaper of general circulation in their geographic area. So this would allow the city to save expense, and would also allow people to obtain information in a way that they very typically now obtain information, which would be online at the city's official website.
Good. Thank you. Anything come from the council members?
Mr. Chairman?
Councilwoman
I
Hicks
don't know if this
Clayton?
will air in time, but we've been reminding people about the Crime Prevention Walk, which is tomorrow night on Wednesday, October 14th. We've been flyering the neighborhoods and getting the information out, 6 p.m., St. Albert's, meet in the parking lot. We will be discussing crime prevention, obviously, and crime trends in providing a checklist to the residents. So we'll be walking and discussing what you can do to keep your neighborhood safe. It's a great example of a partnership, which we talked about in study session, for positive and communities, you know, between the residents and the police, as well as the organizations and service clubs that come out, and even with our business communities. So everyone is invited to join us tomorrow night on October 14th, 6 p.m. Thank you.
Any other council?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Constant, and then we'll come to Councilman.
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton, give us the time,
I'm sorry, 6 PM,
6 PM.
October 14th, meet at St. Albert's.
Thank you.
Annapolis and Parker
Yeah,
in the
on
south
Parker.
end of Dearborn Heights.
Councilman Constant.
And I'd like to thank everyone who helped the Watershed Stewards Commission clean up the rain gardens and the grounds at the Richard Young Center this past Saturday. We had the honor students from Crestwood and several other volunteers. Everybody did a great job. Especially thank our co-chairs Barb Gorka and Steve Roberts. They did a great job organizing and getting the materials there, so good job.
Yeah, good job. Thank you. Any other councilman? Councilman Apigian?
Actually, I'd like to take this time to thank those people who took the time to come to the library. Unfortunately, it was not well attended, and we're going to have to do it again. The issue of looking at some of our ordinance, tree ordinance, fence ordinance. In fact, I'd like to have the next council meeting, make sure we have a study session at the library, and you have such a big screen to see my presentation on all those 5 issues of home ordinance, fence, so on and so forth. Hopefully we can do that. It's a much nicer way to look at it. But I'd like to thank those, some are in this room today, that came, and maybe next time we'll get more. Thank you very much.
I have been talking with Jack, and as soon as he gets some information together, we're going to put that together as a whole package. So Jack, as soon as Jack gets to it, it'll be scheduled as soon as we can. Okay, anything else from the council? Mayor, do you have?
I have one item that really is of concern, and I think concern to the whole community. The Donovan VFW post has had to shut off, DTE shut off the gas and lights, and they had a robbery a few months ago, and they are in need of $10,000 to restore the lights. And so if anyone feels moved to help in their plight and wants to send them a check, they would very much appreciate it. This is the oldest VFW in Michigan, and we won't take cash in the office, but if they're located in Van Born, if you have a concern about the address or if you will take a check in my office, but make it out to VFW Donovan Post 878. But I'm certainly hoping that they'll be able to raise the money to continue all the work that they've done in Dearborn Heights. And I don't think there's anybody in the city who has not been to numerous events at the Post, and it really is a gem and jewel in Dearborn Heights. And it's really awful to think that they may have to close the doors permanently. So if you can find a couple extra bucks to help them, it'd be appreciated.
And they have a Facebook page set up, something
They
like.
have a GoFund.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a GoFund account.
Okay, so go to the GoFund account, that would even be better, but if worse comes to shove, and, like I say, I don't like to deal with cash in the office, but a check made out specifically to them would be acceptable, but let's all rally behind and help them out.
Are they a nonprofit organization?
Yes, they're a
Veteran of Foreign Wars.
501c that would, so it would be a deductible on, if you deduct on your income taxes, and it's just all the good things and all the good members they've had over there. It really is tragic.
And may I add, I was contacted by somebody from, I don't know if anybody's from Press and Guide tonight, but I believe they're going to do a feature article on it as well, which I think is really good, to bring attention and increase awareness to what they're going through right now, to rally our community to support the VFW Post, because as the mayor had said, they are the longest one established in the state of Michigan. They just celebrated an anniversary 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago or so? So we appreciate that support, and thank you.
Good. Is that it, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Clerk?
Time is moving fast. The election is just a few weeks away. We completed mailing out all the absentee ballots a few weeks ago. If you have applied for an absentee ballot and have not received it, please call us. You should have received it by now. So call us and let us know. Bear in mind that we do not automatically send one each time. You must apply each time for a ballot. We have to verify that you're still living at your registered address and you're still alive and still here in the city. So you do have to apply each and every time. If you have any problems, any questions, please call us. There's plenty of time if you qualify for an absentee ballot to apply for them. We will be open the Saturday before the election. I think the election is November 3rd, so it's probably October 31st, Halloween probably. We will be open. Please call us, 313-791-3432, should you have any needs, an absentee ballot, or questions. So thank you very much. And when you return your ballots, please sign them. You need to sign the envelope, so don't forget to do that. So thank you very much.
Good. Thank you. And at this time, if anyone has any announcements, things going on in the city, we do have Carol and Mark Slater here that passed out this flyer for us, if they want to come to the podium and tell us the project that has been going on for many, many years.
Thank you, Ken. Mark Slater, my wife Carol from the Dearborn Heights Kiwanis. And annually, for several years now, we've been sponsoring the citywide Veterans Appreciation Dinner. It's always the same date every year. It is on the first Thursday in November, which is this year, Thursday, November the 5th. We always have some great speakers. This year, our speaker is Gary Tanner. Many of you know him in the community. He's very active in assisting veterans that are reconnecting. He's a Reconnect Committee Chairman for the American Legion Department of Michigan. And he is one that cares deeply about the vets that are coming back and trying to get back into civilian life. Gary himself is a United States Army veteran who had wartime eligibility during the Grenada and Lebanon area. So we have a few purposes for the event. Number one purpose is to honor veterans. Veterans from the city of Dearborn Heights are invited to come join us for dinner at the Stitt American Legion post as our guests, free of charge. We welcome you to give a call. The phone number will be posted on the screen. And give us a call. We will get a ticket, free ticket for dinner to the vets. And I say this every year, and it's always true. Veterans are humble. They're not quick to take recognition. We encourage you to call and come and be recognized. So that's our number one purpose, is to recognize the veterans. And our secondary goal that we have is for young people to have an opportunity to rub shoulders with veterans and understand the concept that the price of freedom isn't free, and that there are real people out there that are defending this nation. And to that end, we invite high school students from the local high schools as our guests also. We'll have a large contingent always from Crestwood High School National Honor Society. There'll be a contingent from Annapolis High School from the Kiwanis Key Club, and there'll be a contingent from Divine Child. So we host the students to come in and have the opportunity to rub shoulders with the veterans. And it's always quite an amazing ending to the evening when the featured veteran speaks and the other veterans that are in the audience are literally surrounded by the young people and just hugged and loved. It's really something to see. So we invite all the citizens of Dearborn Heights to come out. We have 200 spaces in the Stitt Post. We filled it last year. We hope to fill it again this year to show our veterans support. It's a wonderful dinner also. Every year, the mayor supports me when I say it's a great meal at the Stid Post, a great buffet.
Oh, yes.
And the two of them do a great job.
Yes.
Thank you for what you do with our veterans. You're the greatest.
Thanks very much. So my wife will give her closing remarks. Carol?
My closing remarks is ditto. I couldn't have said it better myself. So I just wanted to remind all the veterans from Dearborn Heights that the meal is free and the food is really good. So come and have a nice meal on us. And the phone number is 313-561-5778.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just,
Councilwoman
I always
Hicks-Payne.
want to say this, I think it's important to express appreciation. As a Kiwanian and as a military family, what you do, your work with this event is greatly appreciated. And thank you for your time and commitment. I know it takes a lot to organize this year after year. You do a great job, really. And just to have the opportunity for our community members to come and say thank you to our veterans for their service is just, we can't say thank you enough. Really appreciate what you do. So,
As a Kiwanian, I'll say ditto.
yeah, really. No, it's a lot of work, and you do a great job. You really
ditto.
do.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, anyone else have announcements, things happening, going on in the city?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Diane Webb, the County Commissioner. I'm here to give you a couple of quick announcements. My annual Make a Senior Smile Day is coming back on November 7th. We've got a couple of changes in locations. I want to thank the mayor for allowing us to use the Eaton Center. We have the most need on the south end. We get the most requests for seniors over there to come rake their leaves. So we are going to move it from Berwyn to Eaton this year, and then we're going to ask the North End folks to come to the VFW post on Inkster and 96, where we'll be doing a combination of Redford and North Dearborn Heights at that location, because actually they're closer to North Dearborn Heights there than they are at the Eaton Center. So we will still try to keep volunteers from the North End on the North End and those from the South End on the South End. And my master gardeners will go anywhere they're needed, so they're a huge help. So we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for sponsors. As you probably know, the county pulled the funding out from underneath this program about 6 years ago. We continue to do it on donations because the need is still there, and I just didn't have the heart to tell people we can't do it anymore. So we do whatever we have to do. And a lot of businesses in Redford have already donated, so we're putting it out to the Chamber of Commerce. And if you know anybody or businesses that are willing to donate, even bags, we really would appreciate it. Your seniors appreciate it. If you know any seniors or disabled veterans that are in the need of the service, people who can't afford to pay someone, can't physically do it, please have them call my office at 313-224-0930. That's 313-224-0930, and we'll certainly get some people out there to help them out. That's Saturday, November 7th from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Got to do a shout out to your police chief and your fire chief, because they came out and joined us last year, which was awesome. And your state rep, Julie Powecki, has given me her whole day, so she'll be out there with me too. We're looking forward to that. Any of you want to join us, you're more than welcome to call my office. The next one is kind of a public service announcement. I just got an email from our IT department at Wayne County, and if you go to www.waynecounty.com, we have a new link there that's called the Wayne County Service Center, and you can click there and you can do a lot of things online that you used to have to go downtown to do, like pay your taxes, download important documents, or order important documents from the clerk's office, the Register of Deeds office, et cetera, report a road hazard, get any information on parks. It's all becoming automated. So there's different things that are happening. They're still building the website out, so I just wanted to let you know that it's It's up. It's not completely, there's not everything in Wayne County on there yet, but there will be. So if you have a need and you don't want to go downtown, check out the website and see if it's available online first, and it might save you a trip downtown. By the time the end of the year is out, I think we'll have every department functional online, which is enormous, something I've been asking for many, many years. So I'm really glad about that. And my last announcement is we are looking to hire veterans in our Wayne County Sheriff's Department. So we are doing a Sheriff's Department hosting a veteran hiring event on November 14th. That's November 14th, 2015 at 9 a.m. at the Light Guard Armory at 4400 East 8 Mile Road in Detroit. So if you know any veterans that are looking for employment and want to work for the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, we are looking to hire them. So those are the three major announcements I had. I brought some extra copies of my newsletter. Hopefully y'all got them to your doors and read them, I know, and thoroughly, and saw the good things happening around in Dearborn Heights. I listed your property tax values going up here in the Heights, which is outstanding. Overall, it looks like Dearborn Heights has gone up about 18%, the whole house values over the last 3 years. So things are starting to turn around. It's a real good thing. It's unfortunate the whole county is not turning around at the same time. So overall, from a tax revenue perspective, we're still struggling. But the good news is we did eliminate the cumulative budget deficit and the annual structural budget deficit. So this administration has been tough, but they've done a lot of house cleaning, and I think we're getting back on solid ground. So if anybody has read this and has any questions for me, feel free to contact my office. I'll leave some extras here in the building. Thank you for your time.
Good. Thanks, Diane. Anyone else? Mike? We always like to hear what's happening in our libraries.
Always something good.
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. Just want to talk about an upcoming event. Next week is the Friends Fall Book Sale. Thursday, October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, October 23rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Saturday, October 24th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Carolyn Kennedy Library. Thousands of books from the library crypt will be up for sale. Come on out and get your share, as the prices are scary. Also, putting on my Kiwanis hat, I wanted to thank the Crestwood National Honor Society, who have done so many things in our community already, announced tonight, and probably are going to help out with a Senior Smile, make it Senior Smile Day, for helping us paint the bleachers at Central Park. We painted 6 bleacher sections in 3 hours, over 2,500 square feet. So thanks to Diana Johns and Coordinating Secretary Suzanne Irani, Councilwoman Lisa X. Clayton, and everyone that helped make our community a little better that day. That's all for now. Thank you for your time, and see you at the library.
Thanks.
And Mike, may I add, just because I don't want to get dinged for this, the National Junior Honor Society as well from Riverside. You know,
Yes.
I don't know if they watch these meetings, probably not, but if, just in case, you know, we don't want them calling in, okay?
Yes, yes.
Great
Thank you.
job,
All
great
are,
job to
all
you
are,
as well.
all are great young volunteers that come out.
Because you organized the whole thing. And labor-intensive morning, I was more directing, but you did a great job.
All right, thanks.
Good. Any more announcements, Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you guys know, or I hope you know, October is Fire Safety Month, and that means it's time for us to do our open house again. It's going to be this Saturday, October 17th, from 10 till 2 o'clock at the North End Station at Fire Headquarters. You've probably seen a lot of the other departments around have had open houses, and we try to schedule them so they don't happen all at the same time. But this Saturday is going to be ours. So you can come in and get a tour of the station and meet your firefighters. We'll have a medical helicopter show up. We'll have several cars that the DPW has helped us out in the past where they've smashed them up to replicate accidents. And then we use our jaws of life, and we cut the cars open and do extrication demonstrations. We do a couple of those every day, or every time we do this. We have our USAR team, the Urban Search and Rescue. That's a Western Wayne County team. We have 2 members of our department that are on that team. They'll be there with some of their equipment and showing some of the things that they can do. The USAR team does high-angle rescue, confined space, machinery entrapment, and water rescue. There's an inflatable fire safety house and a place for kids to try on firefighters' gear, and they get spray hose and see all the trucks. So there's a lot of stuff for everyone to do, so I hope to see everyone out there. And also, we're collecting for Make a Difference Day, which is a collection for homeless veterans, toiletries. There's a box here at City Hall, and they're at all the different schools. So any deodorant, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrushes, that kind of thing. If you have anything like that to come and donate, we collect them all for this month, and then we drive them downtown and donate them. So that's 2 things going on at the fire department. Good?
Good.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
A lot of announcements today.
Very good.
Maybe we should have the podium on this side.
It is on wheels, you just push
There's
it.
usually another mic there.
Council Mayor, I actually was asked to come here. Mark Sobel manages the Telljoy Shopping Center. Every year for the last, this will be his 6th year, he's hosted a trunk and treat. It started off as a military park event, and then the 2nd year he asked if he could take it over. One of the things that he does is he tries to promote all the local businesses. So he invites business owners to come out and decorate their trunk, and it's a great event for kids in the area. It's Saturday, October 24th. The trunk or treat will be from 12 to 2. It's located at 8641 Telegraph. It's in the shopping center in between the Wendy's and the Rallies, right in front of the Red Ruby and the Asian shopping store there. From 12 to 2, it's for kids up to 14 years of age. They come in costume, they go trick-or-treating, there'll be tattoos, pumpkin decorating, prizes, and other things. That weekend also, the Salvation Army wanted to announce that they'll be accepting donations all weekend at the thrift store location there. But I wanted to mention, every neighborhood and every community should have a business owner like Mark Sobel. Right from the very beginning, he dove right into our neighborhood association. He attended every meeting that we had from the very beginning. When we wanted to start a neighborhood watch in the Military Park neighborhood, he came forward and donated all the lights for our vehicles. And he doesn't live in the community, but he has been him and his family have been part of this community for a very long time. His father was the pharmacist at Checker Save More. And so he's very familiar with the community, and he's very proactive in our neighborhood. So, and then just from the ordinance standpoint, we've been picking up a lot of dogs on weekends, and they may have licenses, but folks are not attaching them to the collar. And so we're picking up a lot of dogs, and we end up having to take them to the shelter because although they may have a license, they're not attaching them to their collar. And many of them, we're finding recently, that do have microchips, they're not active. So if you have a dog and you have it microchipped, it's really important to call your microchip provider and make sure that it's activated. We have a scanner that covers about 9 different microchip agencies, and we're finding that we're not having success with some of them. So you want to verify with your microchip provider that your chip is still active. So, all right?
Mr. Chairman.
Jack?
Yep.
Councilman Kozinski, and then we'll
Do you know the lifespan of the microchip?
Yeah, they're good for a lifetime. They will shift around sometimes, so when we scan them, sometimes we even go down the leg or even into the back area. They will move around. It's as small as a piece of rice. It's very small. And this past spring, and we're going to do it again, we've been promised by the Michigan Humane Society, we're going to do a low-cost pet clinic in the spring again, and including that, people will be able to get microchips for $10. Vaccinations for $5, microchips for $10. And we did have a lot of people that participated this last spring in that, so.
Where's your funding?
Pardon me?
What is your funding source?
MHS pays for it.
Okay.
We just host it, and then they pay for it, so.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Yeah, I was just going to add, good point about the microchips, because you usually have it done like when they're puppies, but also it's important to update the information.
Correct.
Any changes.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, when they do scan it, they're going to pull up the old information, an old phone number, an old address, and that defeats the purpose as well. So a lot of people forget that. Because, your dog is, 7, 8, 9 years old, and you moved and you changed, how often you change numbers, and it's important to continue to update that information.
Yeah,
keep
we
it
just did
current.
one Tuesday? Yeah, yesterday. There was a real cute bulldog down in the south end,
Yeah.
and he had a chip. It came up, we called it in, and it wasn't active. It had been with a previous owner, and it wasn't reactivated. So
Right.
it's important to make sure you do that.
Thank you.
All right?
Thanks.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah, Jack, and you may have mentioned this, I always think of the Telljoy Plaza as the Randazzo Fruit Market.
it's actually next door to that.
Yeah, but Mark is, amongst other things, he's a very prolific and accomplished debtor's bankruptcy attorney.
Yeah.
Written a lot of articles. And his office, I think, is still there.
He does appointments in that office, yeah. I don't think it's open every day, but
Do his parents owned at one time the mall?
his parents owned that store. I don't know that they own the entire mall, but he now manages the whole mall. And it's kind of funny, this third or fourth year, his board of directors came, and that was interesting to see them because they just were a unique kind of group. But they were so excited about him doing this at their center, and they promote it. They want to pay for everything. They don't want any. It's totally a free thing. And all he's looking for are businesses that want to come, open up their trunk, pass out some candy. Last year, we guessed that right around 100 kids came through, and each year it's gotten bigger and bigger. So,
great.
And many of you have come, and we appreciate that. Lisa's come before. Joe set up a trunk one year. The mayor's office always represents. So,
Yeah.
and if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. All right. Thank
Good.
you.
Thanks. Any more announcements? Things happening in the city? Then at this point, if anyone would like to speak, please come up to the podium, give your name, street, and the city you live in. You will have 3 minutes to speak. When you have 15 seconds left, Councilman Berry will hold up this sign, and when your 3 minutes are up, he will hold up the stop sign. Thank you. Zuhair?
Good evening, everyone. Zuhair Abdelhaq, resident of Dearborn Heights. I just attended Mr. Apigian's the event, the forum for the trees, and I really appreciate what you did. It was very informing. A problem was there is only 6 people attending. And that shocked me that I left my business and I left one employee in my store to come and attend it because I thought it's very important issue to talk about. When we had the problem with the dogs, I seen more than 250 to 300 people here. And I don't know which more important is the dog who lives with us 15 years or the tree who lives with us probably for 100 years. I appreciate what you did. Even I didn't see the whole thing, but I was told that it was very nice presentation. The problem is not just the presentation. You read the ordinance, and I don't see any clause to that ordinance. People cut the trees without permit, and we all know this, on weekends. And I don't see any reason why this ordinance, and especially you, Ned, I would like you to take the lead on it, to put forward an ordinance to make it misdemeanor, carries $1,000 or $500 and 90 days in jail for people who cut their trees, especially the legacy trees, on the weekends without permits and without any authorization. And the same time for the administration, I don't see why we do not hire a couple ordinance to the ordinance department to work just weekends, part-time, on the weekends to go around. And they look at the permits which were issued during the week or during the months for new buildings. Go check those sites because those are normally the sites which cut the trees on the weekends. maybe we get, our trees and our quality of life stay better than other cities and prevent all this nonsense which is going on in the city. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Ray Muscat, Havelock Street. Good evening, everyone. Ned, I'm sorry I couldn't attend your function. I had a previous function, my granddaughter's 4th birthday party, and it's kind of hard to miss that one, okay?
Next time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hopefully I'll make the next one. I just have a comment about the water rates. 4 or 5 years ago, I mentioned about putting a separate water meter on our homes to be used for outdoor use. Grass watering, flower watering. That water goes back into the ground. Doesn't go anywhere else but back into the ground. And we're being charged sewage disposal, which is outrageous. Other communities have this, okay? And it's something that we need to look at again. Our water rates combined with water and sewage, it's going up over 17%. So it is double digit, okay? And it's getting to the point where my lawn now is going to look like a bunch of other lawns that's going to be parched and weed growing, because there's no way in the world I can afford to water my grass, water flowers. And we want to have a beautiful city, but we can't afford it anymore. Either that, or I'm going to dig an illegal well in my backyard and pump some water and water my lawn. I don't know what else to tell people. It's getting ridiculous. Pretty soon we're going to have laws in this country where you can only take a bath once a month on the second Saturday of the month. Some outlandish, it's water. And we're being charged through the nose for it. And that's just my statement. Take it however you want to take it. But that second water meter should be made available to the citizens of this city.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment about the water meter? Yeah. As I remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, our present water department on their counter had some literature discussing this issue, the pros and cons. And the logic of what you're talking about, I agree with. Their position was, the people that are opposed to the second meter, was that if we had a second meter and we weren't charged for that water, we're going to end up doubling the rate in order to pay for the water. That was their analysis. So it's not that it hasn't thought about, but apparently, I don't know whether that paperwork, Mayor, is still on the counter.
I believe it is. But you know
what?
what? We're also being told we're going to get charged more water for not using enough water.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, it's a double-edged sword, however you want to look at it. We're told we use too much water, then we don't use enough water, so we get charged either way. And then we get charged for excess flow. So how do you want to do this, okay, folks? It's either one way or the other way. We can't have it both ways.
My water bill last month, whenever it came last week or two, was $485. And I do have I do have a sprinkler system, but it doesn't go on every day. It goes on maybe 3 times a week, but it didn't go on in July. I remember that. So it's a bit much, but I got a lot of trees, so I keep saying that's the reason why the grass doesn't grow.
Okay, next.
Good evening. My name is Zainab Shirkawi. I live on Kenmore Street. Last year in October, I bought a house that was up for demolition from the Wayne County auction because I guess I just went into auction for not paying taxes. So when I bought the house, I was given they told me that I had to pay taxes because it was 2014 and it's my responsibility to pay it. So I said, that's fine, I will pay it. I came in, I spoke to the ordinance department and the treasurer, and they waived the weed cutting fees that were put on the taxes. And they gave me a revised tax bill, which I have right here. With the revised tax bill, they also gave me the invoices for the weed cutting that was brought down to 0, meaning that I'm all clear on it. This year, I received another bill, not another bill, but the taxes for this year, and the same weed cutting charges were put on this tax bill. So I went to ask why, and I was kicked out of the city hall just for asking to make an appointment to see the mayor, just to prove my point. Not because I want to argue, and not because I want to cause any problems. I just want to show you guys that I got billed again for the same exact weed cutting with the same invoice number and same dates. So I came back to speak to the mayor or to speak to somebody, and then I was accused of fraud by the mayor's assistant. I had no chance to voice my concerns. I was called a liar. I was told to leave the city hall because they're not going to give me the chance to talk to the mayor. And that's why I'm here today, is for someone to hear me out here and see what I have. And that's it.
Anyone? You want to respond as far as?
After the
Would it be
meeting, I'll look at
assessor?
it, but I
Okay.
don't know any of the circumstances at this time.
So will you stay
Yes.
after the meeting and then chat with the mayor? Okay, good. Thanks. Thanks,
Ma'am,
Vanna.
are you represented by an attorney?
Well, I did put an attorney on it, but he told me that I didn't put an attorney to represent me, but I need an attorney to stand for my rights, for me to come in here and be.
Yeah, that's fine. Then
Have your attorney contact me.
No, she said she doesn't have an attorney hired. If she can have 5 minutes with the mayor afterwards, what's wrong with that? I'm not talking to you.
This way.
I'm not talking to you. Point of order.
Wait a minute.
Point of order.
Wait,
Point of order, please.
wait a second. Okay. You answer your question, what Gary asked you about your attorney.
No, I mean, apparently you had an attorney who spoke to Mr. Roberts. Is that correct?
Mr. Roberts, who's Mr.?
An assistant city attorney who handles ordinance issues.
I didn't talk to no Mr. Roberts.
Okay, well, my advice in this situation would be for the mayor not to discuss this until we end up being in a position where we
Why?
know if
She's
there's
just coming in to ask to speak with the
Because
mayor. I don't
it's-
understand what we're protecting here.
What we're
Sir?
protecting is to make sure that someone doesn't end up having a discussion where they're basically setting us up for litigation potentially.
Sir, I'm not setting up for anything. The reason why I spoke to an attorney is because I was kicked out of the city hall. I was called a liar in front of a whole bunch. I was called a liar in front of a whole bunch of people in the city hall. I even called the cops to ask them, why am I being treated like this? And I have their names.
Ma'am, if you have an attorney, then, if we can deal with the issue, maybe he can present a letter and he can
He
explain.
did, but nobody replied to
Then
him.
he can explain the information, then it can end up being forwarded to me. Okay, I can give you my card
Can you have
after
it
the meeting.
forwarded, the letter to Gary?
I gave the copy to the assistant mayor's assistant.
To just have a conversation, a 5-minute
That's
conversation.
all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
If there is a attorney involved, then we have to talk through our attorney. That's the problem. You can't have the two
But
parties.
see, I didn't want to put an attorney. I was put down in front of a bunch of customers.
Can I just say something real quick?
I was.
Wait.
Excuse
Yes,
me.
I was.
Jack? Go ahead, Jack.
I just want to speak to the invoices, because that's really what the call was about originally, was about the invoices. She did purchase a home from the Wayne County auction. There's a procedure that if the date of foreclosure, anything prior to the date of foreclosure, we do reimburse, and we did do that. Anything that occurs from the date of foreclosure to the time that she purchased it through the auction, she's responsible for. I spent, and you remember this, I spent a lot of time putting together all the correct invoices. I met with John Riley. We put together the reimbursement on the taxes that anything that happened to prior foreclosure. We printed all the pictures. I printed all the Belfour invoices. She got all the information, and what occurred after that is something that totally different. But as far as the invoices go, and that's what she originally wanted to talk to the mayor about, she was not satisfied with my response, so.
Okay, let me ask you this. So anything that occurred prior to her purchasing the home from Wayne County is waived?
No.
No.
Anything prior to the date of foreclosure. So when,
Date of foreclosure.
when folks come in and they bring in their papers and they're asking for, because they're aware of this, a lot of them are, have all the information correct when they buy the homes
Okay.
from, through the Wayne County. They come in, they always bring their copy of the date of foreclosure. John and I have worked out a form between the two departments. I submit a form to John and say, hey, all this occurred prior to foreclosure. We need to reimburse them for it. But anything after foreclosure, then that's the responsibility of the winning bidder.
The invoices that she's concerned about took place after foreclosure.
After foreclosure.
So do you understand that?
Yeah, but that's not true. The invoices I have are the same invoices that were reimbursed.
Oh, she is saying they are the same invoices?
No, we spent a long time going through this.
Did you look at the invoices she just received?
Well, I don't know what she has in her hand right now, but she brought all the invoices, and I even explained to her when we did the reimbursement, because you're not going to be billed until the next tax year, more than likely there's going to be, if we boarded up the house through Belfour, if we had to cut the grass, more than likely on your next tax year, you're going to see invoices that occurred post
But Jack, she's saying they're the same invoices.
Well, some of them may look the same because if Eager Beaver goes out or one of our contractors goes out and cuts the grass, it's going to be the same square footage this year that it was last year.
But I guess what I'm asking is, you haven't seen them, so are they the same invoice number? Are they for the same dates? Are they for the same service?
I don't believe so, but if you want to come in tomorrow, we can spend more time and we can review them again.
I don't
But
mind.
the
I just
last-
need someone to listen to me, that's it.
We spent a lot of time going through these.
I
and-
have the invoices they gave me are the exact same invoices and dates.
Okay.
And I have, ever since I bought this home, this home, and I demolished it, I have a company that comes out and cuts my grass. Not only do I get the same guy that cuts my grass, even my neighbor took him, and my neighbor across the street took him too, and they all cut the same.
I will tell you that if Mr. McIntyre told you that he'd like to sit with you and sort it out, I feel comfortable that he's going to handle it the right way.
That would be great. I don't
So if
mind.
you can,
I
please.
just need you to bring in that copy of the foreclosure notice again so that we can make sure the
I
date.
have everything you need.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, Troy Brown, 23420 Hanover Street. Last, the 29th of September, we had a promised meeting, and in that meeting, the attorney agreed with me that this city was in violation of MCL 141-2701, item 4.
Point of order,
What
Mr.
meeting
Chairman.
were you at?
That's not true.
Never got that,
I was at the same
here.
meeting. I didn't hear that.
Oh, okay, I got a video of it. You can go on Troy for the Truth and look at
I
it.
have no desire to go on your
Okay,
blog.
all right, there we go. But I have a video of it. So my question is, what has the city done, Mr. Chairman?
Cut him off.
No, you're not going to cut me off. I'm asking you a
We
question.
discussed all that, the questions were all answered.
What have you done in
And-
response to that violation?
Since that point,
September 29th.
nothing, there was nothing to do.
All right, there's nothing to do.
I figured, yeah.
Okay.
I think the whole council was in agreement.
But the lawyer
questions were
wasn't.
asked, the
But the
people
lawyer
asked.
wasn't. But the lawyer's not.
Well, I did not
That's not
understand
true.
it that way, but.
That is not a true statement.
Okay. All right, we'll let the video disagree with you. Okay? Because I disagree with you. Now, item tonight, item 8B, Mr. Chairman. Item 8B. Look at it. One that council just approved besides the courageous Lisa Hicks Clayton, because she had to, I don't know why she voted no, but that's the correct vote. Because the first thing is, the mayor did not concur with that. If you'll notice in your file, there was no concurrence. Okay, as the executive officer of this city, he is to concur with that. He did not. Second thing is that is actually Plant Moran's resolution and not the city officers. If you read it, you can read it.
They're the ones that
Okay.
put the facts together.
So they're the one that put the facts together. Okay, and they also put in a statement there that these facts are not, listen to this, we were engaged to and did not conduct an examination, the objective of which would be the expression of an opinion on the financial statements of the city of Dearborn Heights. So based on that, are you sure that the water rate raise was in accordance with all the laws of the state of Michigan?
At this point, I am.
Based on what,
The other
Mr.
council
Chairman?
members?
Based on what data? I
Information
didn't see it in the backup. I didn't see it in the backup.
Then I don't have anything more to say. That's it.
General opinion means something.
You want to continue? Continue.
No, time's up.
So you voted on something with no backup? That's great representation. That's great representation.
Plenty of backup, but, okay. Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn?
Wait. Well, we always welcome the concerns and comments of our citizens. Their views and opinions are not necessarily the views and opinions of the council and the administration. Motion to adjourn by Councilman Berry, seconded by
Here. Second.
Councilman Kozinski. All in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.